Yeah, well, it's pretty thoughtful of you and appreciate it. Uh, I was actually thinking I'll do my best, but I think my sister is probably she would Lydia, she would have more to you know you know give you in terms of all memories, because she's been with her for her whole life basically. But yeah, I mean that's fine. Whatever you can, you know, pour to it is fine.
I mean, I oh, there's an echo. Sorry. Um, I do want to get to my tia Lydia, but additionally, aside from my grandma, I mean, I it's very important for me to just preserve the history of our family in general. I mean, here we are in 2020 in April 3rd in a world crisis like humanity has never seen before, and we don't know where we're going, but the history of our family is very important to me, and I would like to record it. So not just my grandmother's experiences, but you guys as well, coming to the United or going to the United States and leaving your country, and well, now being really being American now, and for most of your life, and what that was like for you as well, and but also the experience of what it has been like for you to see my grandma, with this condition, this disease, lose her memory slowly over time, what that experience has been like for you.
Yeah, well, it's not easy to deal with, uh, but also it's not easy to deal with in terms of her, and not just for us, but for her. And you feel like you have your hands tied up because there's things that you want to do and can't do it. You cannot do them because you just imagine what she's going through, but without getting her input, what she feels. That's the hard part. But I can tell you from my personal experience that it was, I would say, not easy, but maybe easier than to some of my brothers to accept it, simply because you may know or might not probably know that I'm part of ESNE, right? El
Mm-hmm.
Sembrador. This is a big, big ministry. It's worldwide now. And so I've been with them for the last probably, well, since I joined them for about 7 years now. And through that, I've learned that nothing is more important than having that relationship with the Lord, you know? And so whatever He allows, He's got a reason for it. So that's probably the reason that I can say it might have been a little easier for me to accept it because once you understand that the Lord is in control, He knows what He's doing. He's perfect. He's our Father, uh, and that it's kind of helped me on that regard. Had not I've not been in on this ministry, I would have probably you know taken it totally different. I can tell you that because my faith, as small as it may be, is still way, way, bigger or better than it was 7, 8 years ago. And so it's on that regard, I feel fortunate. And like I said, the Lord is perfect, so He maybe prepared me for this. And I've told my brothers and sisters, say, this is our situation. We have to embrace it and do the best we can. Because if we would start, blaming each other for things that who knows? I mean, because at times I felt like, oh, what if we probably done this or that, or but I don't think that anything we would have done might change anything. Maybe, but I don't know. So on that end, I feel fortunate that like I said, I've been part of this ministry, and it's actually very rewarding to be part of it because now that everybody's in house, you're shelling your house. Uh, this is the ministry most people are watching for mass for a message to lift your spirits, and guess what, I'm part of it, so that's really rewarding. And when we used to go out to different places and promote our events, uh, at the very beginning, it was hard to digest because you go to like churches or places where people gather, and they were Catholic events, not necessarily churches. People would just turn you away, and or give you the look, an invitation for an event or uh, something that you wanted to do because we were sent there for that reason. And I remember my wife saying a couple of times when handing out information about our particular event at that time, uh, she will say, "I don't understand it. This is God's thing. This is the church thing, and they're coming out of the church." And I said, "Just a minute. The word of the Lord says you're not doing it to you in a personal. You know, they're doing it to me. So whatever they do, they're doing it to me. I mean, we take it in a personal sometimes, but it's not. Whatever you do to one of my little ones, you're doing it to me." And so it took my wife a little bit of time to get past that, but I don't know, for some reason I understood you know what the whole thing was about because I started to read the scripture, and it helped me understand a lot. And so now I got some books that are actually new teachings per se. So it's actually about Jesus' divine life, more so. I was telling you about the other day, right? So it talks about his divinity when he was here on earth. He had his two lives: the um, human life and his divine life. So he left us with his human teaching and not his divinity. And so this is more profound than you cannot imagine, and I cannot describe with words what this means to me. I'm enjoying it so much that I'm here. I'm reading and reading more. And so all that put together, when I look back, I thank the Lord so much, you cannot imagine. Because first of all, to get here in terms of uh, my life I mean, my spirituality, right? It goes back to when we lived in LA County about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. My wife was invited to a gathering at the local church, and she went. I didn't want to go, and finally I went. So it started right then. Then we came here. We heard about ESNE on the radio, and then they were announcing an event for couples. And my wife says, "Well, hey, this is something great that I found on the radio," because she was looking for a doctor's show or program, whatever it was at the time, and she stumbled into, and she says it's a Catholic radio station, and this is a Catholic event, and then, and we're having this uh, opportunity right now to go to because we're Catholic, right? And I say, yeah, we are, but we haven't done much. Anyway, so we went, and then after that we lived a retreat for couples only locally here in Riverside. And then I started to join, we joined the ministry. And at the time when our first year or two, uh, the people there, the our coordinator, she says, okay, we're having somebody from LA diocese to teach us, certain classes, and I was all for it. But then I thought, well, it's too far to go. And this whole thing about the Lord's divinity and the books I have, it just came to me out of nowhere. So that was even more profound, more, or, I mean, the way I look at it now, it was better to drive, and I got something else that was better to me. And so I can look back to those years when we lived in LA, and I could see how the Lord is, calling me, and being closer to Him now. So all that's it's a huge, huge help. I just cannot describe with words. And every time I talk about this, it's like I feel chills, and I want everybody to know about it. And it's like, but that's my side of looking at things, how we're approaching this in terms of my mom. But I mean, it's sad to see anybody, and now I can feel, kind of sympathy for others that are going through tough times, whether it's a family member or not. I mean, whether it's financially, whether it's emotional, whether it's anything that you see people go through, it hurts me because I know is the Lord. It's we're all brothers and sisters, and uh, to have something for so long hurting Him, offending Him, and turning our backs to Him, it hurts. Because he's your brother, he's your sister. And when you talk to people about this, and I use the same words, and they say, they give me that look like, oh, what type of weed are you smoking, or are it's like, really? Okay. But anyways, it's just sad to see people not getting this whole message. And even now, in tough times for a lot of people, I guess right now we're kind of in a tough spot, but I know there's others in a tougher zone. And so, but it hurts right now that I get all kinds of messages from different people, uh, mocking about the situation, making fun of what the situation is. And I said, you remember those words when Jesus was crucified? Que dijo, Padre, perdónalos porque no saben lo que hacen. I tell them the same thing. I get the message on my phone, and that's what I answer back. You know, perdónalos, Señor, porque no saben lo que hacen. I mean, there is just they got no clue what they're putting out there. But anyways, I mean, this is a world, and it doesn't surprise me, but it hurts.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my mom, it's just it's a unique person. I mean, everybody can say that about their moms, right? Maybe not everybody. I mean, there's people that just probably don't care, but she's so special that you know since our childhood years we were left alone with her, and she was brave enough to take us and come up up to where we are now. But the one thing that I really admire her was even when she was going through tough times with with everybody growing up, it was that you did not hear her complain or anything. So that was really, really special. That I appreciate it now more than anything. Uh, I have to give a lot of credit to her in that sense, but also I don't want to forget my grandpa. On her side, uh, him and our uncles from my mom's side, more so, because they were there for us. You know, my my grandpa, and my grandma, Camila, you knew her. Uh, she was just amazing too. I mean, when you think about when we lost my dad, we lost an uncle of ours at the same time. And within a 5 years, 6 years span, my grandparents lost two other sons here in the States, the other two. Uh, so you can imagine for them how tough it was to deal with. We were seven on our side. My uncle left another kid that was, 8. And then later on, two other brothers from my mom's side die. So there's another 6, 7 more kids for my grandparents. And they still found time to help us out. And them too. I mean, I have to give them a lot of credit too. You did not see them complaining, not at all. They could have, you know, uh, say, hey, this is not my responsibility, or shutting the door on us when we went to see them and play in their house. And uh, I just cannot understand, or I don't know how they found the strength to get through, and yet they they were there, you know. Uh, I remember my grandpa one time. Uh, I don't know. This is like 2 or 3 years later after we lost our dad. I don't know what was going on at the time. I forget, it was a party thing, and you know, uh, this whole thing about my dad came to my mind, and I had a few shots. That was my first time ever. I was like 14 or 15, and I got drunk. Honestly, I wasn't used to it. And I took some hard shots. I don't know how many there were, maybe 3 or 4 or something. So the next day I had a hangover because of it, and I didn't, wake up, and I didn't get up until about noon the next day. And after I had, a little something to eat, I went down to play with my cousins, and usually we gather around my grandpa's house. And the first thing I see is my grandpa, and he's coming to me, and I didn't think much of it. And he says, "Aha, so you think you are grown up, huh?" He already knew about everything. And so, uh, but I didn't catch it right from the beginning. I said, "Oh, no." I just look up and I said, "No, I don't think I'm a grown up yet." But he says, it's interesting, his words too, because when you knew when he was mad, you know what his words were for anybody. When he was mad, he would go, "Aha, mire qué curiosito." And it was like, those were his hard words. You can imagine. And so uh, it was pretty awesome to, be part of, the family. And my uncles, I mean, before the two that I lost here in the States, before they die, I mean, those were the great ones, especially uh, the youngest of the two, Florencio. He was, oh my God, he was always in good spirit, always helping me out, and helping me out more so than anybody else, from any or outside. Plus, he'll take me like places that I never really imagined, and he called me his best friend at times. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, uh, I just regret that I could not spend more time with my brothers and sisters, because we had to part ways because of the situation, when they were growing up.
How old were
And
you? How old were you when you left?
well, the first time I had to leave the home was probably when I was 14, maybe 13, 14. I went to Baja. There were there was a lot of people going from different parts of the country to uh, pick up cotton. They were seasonal. So I did it twice in a row. The first year went with my one of my mom's sisters and her family. The next time was uh, friends of mine and myself, and that was a pretty interesting story in itself. We got stranded for about 3 or 4 days in Mazatlan, which is the port where you part and board the ship to go to Baja. And we were having a great time the first day because we didn't find any tickets. There was so many people going across, and so we say, "Oh, well, it's fine, take it easy." Yeah, okay. So it was the first day, and then the next day, uh, we got up a little late. By the time we joined the line, it was already too late. Another day, no big deal. Just go to the beach, and it was right there, so no big deal. Just enjoy it. On the third day, we're kind of concerned because we're running out of cash. Right? It was enough for the you know ticket. So the next day said, "Hey, let's not take any chances now. We had to sleep right by the office, so we will be the first ones in line. It's two, four of us were, and so, but we made it. But it was fun. That was the second time we went over there, and then that year, my mom, my brother Rigo, and my sister Lupe, they joined me over there. I didn't know. My mom just went, and I said, "What are you doing here?" Said, "Oh, we wanted to come to." They came with other families, but anyway, uh, they were there with me the second year, and then a year later was when I was 16, I think, came here to the States, and that was kind of uh, pretty much the end of my relationship with my brothers and sisters because from that time it took me a little while to go back the first time and then I just went for vacation for 2 or 3 weeks, and came back right after. So that's the time that I really kind of missed, uh, not being able to be around them. But uh, it just one of those things they say, well, now that I look back, I mean, there was no other choice. You just had to do it, like most people did it. But in our situation, it was a little uh, different because of what we went through. And my dad, he always wanted me to go to school, you know, and so he was actually talking to me at times where I had an uncle in Hermosillo. He wanted me to send, he wanted me to go there and send me there to study because my uncle will, he agrees. Hey, yeah, send him over here.
My tío
And,
Nino.
and that again?
My tío Nino.
Yeah, yeah, he lives in Arizona right now. I stay in contact with him through WhatsApp, and he comes here every now and then. But yeah, he was there for us too. Even from a far distance, not as much as my other uncles, but still, I mean, every little thing that people did, I appreciate it now more because back then I said, well, we needed help, but not everybody that wanted or could help helped. So, and I say, okay, that's fine. So, I mean, it's great, but all in all, what we went through, uh, now that I'm the age that I am and where I am now, I appreciate it more. But I think it goes back to what I said at the beginning. The Lord was every step of the way with us. I mean, there's just no other way. People can slice it any way they want. But I remember coming across my first time here, came with one of my uncles that passed away here. Uh, we came through a border. I don't know if you heard about it. It's Tecate, right? It's between TJ and Mexicali, right? Well, you're from over there, anyways. Well, now you're not from there, but anyways. Yeah, we purchased uh, groceries at that place to cross to the states, uh, and that was pretty amazing because it was one of my uncles that I came with, and a couple other friends that were my age, and a couple other guys. So total, I think we were like six, and we had to walk 3 days and 2 nights, to make it to the place that we wanted to make it, and then from there we got a ride somewhere closer to San Diego. And but it was interesting because when we were walking all this time and sleeping under the trees wherever we could find a good spot to sleep, uh, all the talk that I heard from the older guys that had already done this, they were saying, "Oh, we would rather much go through here than through TJ," because at the time TJ was pretty hot spot. They had cholos, that would kind of rob you and kick you if kill you if they needed to for their purpose. But also the cops, they were pretty tough, back then. So you could not have safety net to go to, and but that was a talk that I heard throughout, the trip. Oh, we'd rather go through here. We'd rather go through here than TJ. But when I found out what TJ was like, I said, no way. Wait a minute. How could this guy take us over there? Walking 3 days and 2 nights when you could go through TJ and just walk, a couple hours and you're there. Things have not changed much since the first time, but it was way, way better, and it was like piece of cake to go through TJ in that sense. And at that time, it was actually you didn't hear much about any problems crossing. And I remember the first time coming across TJ, uh, or a bunch of guys. I didn't know anybody. That was something that I had already been here and got thrown out. And coming back, had nothing on me. And when we got thrown out, uh, I met this guy. Well, I met a lot of guys, but kind of built a good relationship with one of them. And we actually got caught by the cops in TJ once we got thrown out. It was early, way early in the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. And people that had experience, they said, "Hey, let's find a place to sleep because the cops are gonna get us." He did not finish saying that, and here they come. So they threw us in the patrol car. It was like about 8 of us. How are you gonna fit in the patrol car? Yes, you can. Just push us in there, shove us in there, one on top of each other, and they just driving us around the block and say, "Oh well, si no se cooperan, van a ir a la ocho." La ocho means was got put behind bars. I didn't know better, so they were asking for $100 from everybody. I mean, in as a whole. Well, people that had money said, "Well, I only got five, I only got six, so well, I got 20, but give me some change." Well, nobody gave you change, and so whoever had money had to pay, and they let us go. And one of the guys pulled me over from, grabbed my arm and says, "Hey, come with me." I said, "Well, where are we gonna go?" "Hey, let's find a hotel because the cops, they know that we gave him money and they're smart. They're gonna send somebody else, not themselves, but send somebody else and do the same thing." So he took me uh, with him, found a hotel. We were there like for 3 days, and I had 25 cents in my pocket. And I said, "Well, I want to go back." I called my cousin, Salud's husband, Leon. He was only the one here back then. So I called him. I said, "Hey, can you raise some money? Because I'm in TJ." He said, "Yeah, come over." And so, but I was so anxious to come back. And this guy that I met on the trip to TJ, he says, "No, don't worry about it. I got money." And I said, "Really? Why didn't you say so in the patrol car?" He said, "No, I didn't want to say anything. I got plenty of money." Okay, well, that kind of gave me a little. When he said that. He pulled me into this Goodwill store and buy me a nice suit, for a jacket. And that's how I came across. They threw us on the Coyote. They threw us on the back of a pickup truck, laying sideways. Oh my God, it was tough. And I was like, "God, it's like you guys can you do better job?" It's like you're just a little, produce or something. But yeah, I think that guy too because without him, I don't know. But like I said, every step of the way, when I look back, there's the Lord. I was thrown out to TJ with 25 cents in my pocket, came back with 25 cents in my pocket. Never touch him. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. So, but all in all, uh, I mean, it's amazing how the Lord handles everything. So my mom then, when I think back after I was here, back then was hard to communicate because you either write a letter or call to via Morelos, which is the distance you have to walk the distance. Back then, most people would rather walk because they didn't have to pay for the bus, or they wanted to avoid paying for the bus. Uh, and most people walked anyways. So you had to send them a letter letting them know when you were going to call them, and let them be there. And sometimes it was a long line because this is the only place where you could call. And so I didn't communicate her as much as I would like to because, what the situation was. But, it's just something that, uh, had you had the situation where the communication right now, well, would have been way different. But of course, things were different back then. But then my brothers started to come here uh, in the mid '80s, I say, because I came here in the '80s, early '80s, or the '80s in 1980. '79 was my first year, but then I got caught as well. I was in the state of Utah, got thrown back out. I wanted to come from Utah to LA, but that was not a possibility after I got caught. So I was thrown out. But then I came here in 1980 and pretty much stay around. So then my brother started to come in the mid '80s, and one by one, then two, and then my mom. So, but I thank the Lord for this United States, as you know things aren't you know great, and it's not the best country, but sure is one of the best, I would say, in in spite of what's going on, because I was able to get my green card back in 1986, and then after a while became citizen, and that allowed me to bring my mom, you know, and as a result, you can see back and you put all the dots together. She's able to get uh, help through the government, uh, and so had that not been possible, what I was able to do, then we would probably be in a different situation, uh, the way she is, and with that medical condition too. So all that, it's just I cannot thank the Lord enough in that sense, because even though it was tough, you can start connecting the dots, how it all became what it's now.